How great would it be to get up close and personal with the beauty industry heroes we love and admire, and to ask them, how did you learn to do what you do? I'm Chris Baran, a hairstylist and educator for 40 plus years, and I'm inviting all our heroes to chat and share the secrets of their success. Well, welcome to another episode of Headcases. This week's guest is the past president of LPPD, L'Oreal Professional Products Division. His responsibility was a development and growth of all brands, including Redken, LP, Matrix, Shuyumera, and that's just to name a few. He is in the ownership group of Tippy, which was the digital tipping system, and the International Salon Spa Business Network, ISBN, awarded him with the Legend Award. And you'll know why when you hear this, because he has the heart of gold. His whole mission is to help people in the industry. He is also one of the owners of ArtistOnGo, which is one of the reasons why I wanted him on this podcast, because it's such an interesting concept for independent stylists who still want the vibe and the energy of hanging out with fellow stylists, and it also helps owners earn money with chairs that aren't filled. So let's get into this week's head case. He's my friend. He's my mentor, Mr. Pat Parenty. Mr. Pat Parenty, I can't tell you how excited I am to have on this, because I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But first of all, welcome to Head Cases.
Well, thank you very much. Quite an honor to be here, Chris. It's great to see you.
Yeah, I have to tell you that I'm not trying to embarrass you with this, but when whether you know it or not, like when people ask me who my mentors have been, there's been a few, but I've always listed you as one because of everything that you've helped me along with the industry and the guidance that you've given us, and it's been sort of really I've always looked up to you, and to me, I have always thought of you as one of the fairest and most trustworthy people that I know of. So it's just
coming for you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Who you are in this industry. It's amazing to me that I would be a mentor. So thank you.
Well, and because and I'm gonna and this is a part. It's more embarrassing for me than it is for you. But when I was on a train-the-trainer program just a couple of weeks back, and was talking to them about how important it is that you're authentic and you tell stories that not only make you look good, but the ones of the mistakes that you made. And I told the story about when I first got on with Redken, and all of a sudden I was thrust into this leading Fashion Week hair, and quite frankly, and you'll laugh at this one, because they doled out who was the lead for this designer, who was the lead for this one, etc. And I didn't even, quite frankly, to show you where I was at with it, I didn't even know who this lady's name was at first. And all of the people who had got a lead were Gary, and they said that you got Cynthia Rowley, and I went, okay, well, that must be really good. And they went, okay, she's the hot name. And I went, oh, okay. So I thought that I'd better have my best bib and tucker on when I went for the interview. And I went and spoke to some of her people at the very beginning. And then they brought out Cynthia, and she was doing a wedding release. And she said, so Chris, tell me how you feel about baby's breath. And I went, from being in the salon, if I saw one more damn model that came in, or bride that came in with freaking baby's breath in their hair, I wanted to throw up. And I made the mistake of telling her that. And the interview was over. They just said, thank you very much. And I was out the door. And then I remember I got a call about a week later that they said, I think it was Sue. I can't remember if it was Sue's or who was in charge at that time. And they said, they brought out, and you came down, sat down. And I wasn't sure what it was about. And you said, this is what I loved about you, is that, what I feel every mentor should do is when you do something right, you acknowledge them. And when if you don't know that you did something wrong, that's the way you learn. And I remember you just said, Chris, I just want to speak to you just frankly, just man to man. And I just want you to know that we just about lost the thing with Cynthia, and that might have cost us for Mercedes Fashion Week. And I was kind of a bit shocked. And he says, well, they said they didn't want you as that person, and they didn't want a Redken person. And I guess you guys had to fight really hard to get back that. And it was embarrassing for me at the time, but it was one of the best life lessons that I ever had. And that's why I say that a true mentor is not just one that's going to candy coat everything, but they're going to help you along and make sure you grow from it. And, while I was embarrassed at the time, I have no problem with it now, because it was one of the best growth treatments that I had at the time, not only from just what not to do and say, but also how to approach people. And you've always been just the aces and spades with me on that way. And I just want to say thank you again.
My pleasure. I enjoy every minute.
Yeah. So listen, and we always like to start this way. Is I find that whoever's watching and listening to this, they want to know, like, the hair story, like how you get it. And obviously, you're in the corporate world, so you weren't necessarily a hairdresser. But how did you get involved? How did hair come about?
It's one of the more interesting or more normal stories for the time frame that I was in. I graduated college with a business degree in 1980. So I had entered an executive training program for Federated Department Stores to become a buyer, a merchant. And that's, I was going to start a business career. I didn't really at the time have a big vision as to what part of the business I wanted to be in or what business I wanted to be in, but I knew I was going to be in business, and I liked that concept of it. And, as it is, I started that program, and, how the world works. I met a girl, started dating her, and she had a girlfriend with a boyfriend, and we would go on double dates. And when we were out, his work stories were a hell of a lot better than mine. And he was working for a company called Lamar in the professional beauty business. They manufacture, obviously. And I said, this sounds like a great place to work. And he said they need a business development manager for Nucleic A, a small brand that they had in the Northeast. So I applied. I actually went to my interview at the New York International Beauty Show in the Coliseum in New York. And so my first view of what the beauty business was all about was walking up the escalators into the show and seeing, this is the 1980s again, seeing every kind of hairdo and color and the clothes and all the rest of it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. And I was even in the retail world. I was in actually the men's section of it. And I was blown away by what I saw. And then I had an interview, in the back room of the model room of the stage area for New Era, a brand that Lamar had. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I had so much fun that day. Met with the general manager, had a great conversation, and they hired me to be the business development manager for the Northeast. So that's how I joined the beauty business. I had no idea what it was, how it operated, what was so cool about it. I just knew the initial vibe was amazing, and I'm like, I think I could be very happy here. So I spent my entire career, rest of my career, in the professional beauty business.
What was it like for you? I mean, obviously coming from the business side and then getting into this, what was the turnaround like? Because I'm sure there was, like, if you don't know anything about the business, you've got to get some information from somewhere about how it goes, how it operates. Business is business. We know that. And I remember, and I mean this with all due diligence, and that you called yourself this, as I remember one of my business partners and I had a meeting with you one time, and you just said, well, I'm just a bean counter. And I always say that, like, I'm just a hairdresser, and not, I always just say I'm just a dumb old hairdresser. I don't mean hairdressers are dumb, just me. But I always loved that you said, and we were very honest, you just said, look, I'm the numbers guy. But what was that like? Was there an orientation? Was there things that you had to learn about differences in the beauty business from stuff that you had learned, or any other thing? Or is it similar?
So I think basic tenets of business are pretty similar. The specific requirements for the beauty business and how a salon operated, how the manufacturers operated, what education was all about, how the products move from manufacturing to the final consumer. These are things that can be in any business, that there would be rigorous business processes around it. You just have to learn the insights. I'll tell you the insight for me. What kind of, I believe, set me up for a good career in this business. And it was thankful to salon owners. And when I started, I would go out detailing with salon consultants every day. Yeah. I would go into 10, 12 salons a day. trying to get them to buy nucleic acid products. So I would pitch a product. I was pitching, and I got to meet so many great salon owners and see so many great salons, and I would go to lunch with them, and I would go to dinner with them, and a lot of times I'd be trying to sell them a $90 introduction kit. So $90, and 9 out of 10 of them at one point during the conversation would tell me they couldn't afford it. And I'm standing in this salon that's beautiful with 10, 12, 15 chairs on, a main street in whatever city I was in. It was busy. There's hair flying everywhere. There's customers everywhere. And I look at the guy and I said, you don't have $90 to buy an intro of a new product? And so I said, I need to hear about this. So I sat down and I started using what I understood from business about how to run a business, what's important to a business from a numbers perspective. Yeah. And I started asking questions about P&Ls, and they had very little understanding of that. And they did not, make business decisions based on business information. They made them from their heart. It was emotional because they were artists. Not to say they were bad business people. Some of them were some of the best business people I've ever met, but they all had to grow their own systems. There was no, system on how to become a salon owner, and how do you interact with a distributor, how do you interact with a manufacturer, and everybody had a different way of doing it. And so what I discovered was they need my help, where I felt I could help them, was to begin to teach them or show them or let them know what the important parts of their P&L were, so how to run their business better, so that they can make the right decisions, so they could afford a $90 intro. And I spent a lot of time and resources from the companies that I worked with over the years, developing with some of the best minds in the business, the best business practices, leadership training, management training, and processes for salons to operate, to help them become more competitive in the market. So understand, how to become competitive, and also how to understand, what each part of their P&L meant to them, and why it was important to have a certain amount of product that went down the drain and not too much, and what your level of commission should be in order for you to be profitable, and what your rent should be, and those kinds of things. And they didn't really think about that. They knew how to do hair, and they could do it great, and they could get a lot of customers. And so that's really kind of where my niche came in. I connected with them, and I had something to offer to them versus what they were offering to me, which was a view of a creative business that was really a lot of fun to work in, and that everybody was welcoming, and everybody was happy to be there, and it was an interesting place to work. So, I felt like I could give back something to them early on that would help them. And I found over the course of my career, every time I helped somebody understand their business, they were so loyal to me, and they helped me, and they would get me. I learned that from Michael Cole. If you help somebody get their dream, they'll help you get yours twofold, threefold, fivefold. So I've always believed that to be the way it worked in this business. So
and because I was, it's funny, your name came up. I was doing a program at Curry Salon, and
Brandy's a great guy.
Yes, and he was singing your praises all the while I was there, because even though he said that, when he was building his own line, he sent the stuff to you, and he said, what do you think? And he said that, listen, you even helped him know where to go to find out, and have chemists to treat it, to say, not the people that developed it, but to determine whether that was a good product or not. And I just think, there's what I think is so abundant, and I want to jump into excuse me, Artist on the Go here right away, but I just want to set the audience up for you, is that the mind of abundance that you can come from, because I think there's often this scarcity in our industry where people don't want to share, or they don't want to tell somebody that's not helping them. If it's like you said, I'll help you get your dream if you help me. I'll help you get your dream, and then you can help me get mine. And I think that if people understand the people that come from abundance, there's enough business out there that everybody can get a piece of the pie, and you're willing to help people, even if they're not directly associated with you right now. And I think that speaks volume for anybody like you who helps other people in our industry get involved. And I just want you to know that to this day, there's still people singing your praises out there, me included.
Well, thank you. Great to know.
Yeah. Well, I think so. That kind of leads me into, because I know you've had kind of, since you've been out of the LPPD world, the L'Oreal Professional Products Division world, you've been in several businesses, and you've had Tippy, and now you've had Artist on the Go. And so, first off, I just wanted to say that more often than not, the thing that I find in our industry is, how do I put it? It's almost a little bit like politics now. It gets a bit divisive when you look at the commission salon bases, the independent booth rents, etc. Everybody's telling you why you should do what I feel mine is, and they'll tell you everything wrong with the opposite side. And yet the whole industry is still surviving on its own, and maybe it leans more to one than the other. But what's your take on that with the separation? Because at one time when I started out, it was mostly all commission. You never heard about independent. You never heard about hybrid salons that do commission and a booth rent. What's your take on it?
So, it's funny. I've had, 28 years to look at that. And in the beginning of my career, as you said, there was room for everybody. Everybody was happy to work with everybody, and nobody felt like there wasn't enough space for anyone. And I really enjoyed that. I think, when I started in the early 80s, the commission was probably 80% of it. And the renter piece or the independent piece of it was much smaller and was, in fact, viewed as an issue. How do we handle this? And my point of view on it over the course of my career was it continued to grow for some reason. So no matter what we did to enforce or to help the full service commission model, the independent model continued to drive. I came to the conclusion that it was a part of belief of the hairdresser or the salon professional and as to how they wanted to work. I mean, in today's world, you skip forward to now, the idea of not working a full week is what everybody wants. And I think the hairstylists were ahead of the time. They were wanting not to work 5 or 7 days a week and to, make enough money to do what they do. And, based on, who they were, this was good for them. From my point of view, I think that all the models can work. For me, it's a matter of applying the right strategy, tactics, having the right skill sets, and doing a good job running your business. So I think a full service commission salon is a great place to work and is a great model. I think today's market conditions have driven, just looking at some market research recently, I don't even know if you know this, but between 2014 and last year, the number of independents, so people who are not working in commission salons, has gone almost to 90% of the market. And the number of people that are working in commission salons has been growing the last 5 years, but it's somewhere in the 120, 130,000 range. And then you see the number of people working in salon suites has gone from, in 2014, I think it was like 3,000 people were working in them. Now it's like 96,000. And,
wow.
So the independent piece has gotten bigger. So it doesn't, to me, say that there's something wrong with the full service commission part of it, but it says to me that there's an alternate model that the main players, so the stylists themselves, the hairdressers, the salon professionals, drive by their actions to say, I want to work independently. I want to work for myself. I want to dictate my own schedule. I mean, the information that we're seeing is that most stylists, the majority of stylists now, a full-time job for them is 3 days a week. And, they want to be home at 3 o'clock to pick up their children and from school. And they want to have the flexibility of the hours that they need to do their life, to live their life. So seeing the rental model grow was not surprising to me. All the elements were in place in this business for that to happen. Seeing it grow as big as it did was a little bit of a surprise to me. And then watching the suite phenomenon come, and the suites have gone from 300 locations to 9,000 locations in 10 years. That is telling you that there's something right about the model, right? Because how can you grow that big unless it's acceptable to the market and to the people who are in the market? So I think, to make a final comment on that, market conditions today, the cost of rental, the cost of finding, acquiring, and maintaining quality stylists in your salon, cost of running a salon, energy and everything else that goes with it, even the products, continue to rise. And so it becomes, really difficult, and you have to be really focused on how you're running your business model in order to make money. The information that I've been looking at tells me that the profit margins of salons have dropped in half in the last 5 years. So lots of reasons for that. One of them, the retail issue that's out there. They're not retailing as much, which is very, very profitable. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, I think that the renter side of it has grown, and it's just a part of it. I don't think it's black and white that one is good and one is bad. I think they all have their positives and negatives, and it really depends on what you want. But it seems to me the trend right now is for independents to work in more of the rental environment than it is to work in the commission environment. But there's still a very strong, and as I said, over the last 4 years, it's grown about 20%. So that's good news. So there's still a strong commitment to the full service model out there. So again, going back to the original statement, I think there's enough room in the business for both.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how much of, there was obvious a lean, and I'm just making, a pure assumption here. But, based on some of the things, some of the business that we're in independently is creating models and systems, which I got from my training with through L'Oreal, is that everything, and some of the other teachers we've had, that anytime you have a business, you're going to make it scalable. It's got to have systems in place. And I wonder, and again, just an assumption, I didn't get this from anywhere other than my observations in the industry when I go to salon to salon, when I see people that are caught mindset-wise on, this is the way I was trained, this is the way that I did things, that I was told to do things 20 or 30 years ago, and they're trying to perpetuate that model when we have a new mindset of stylists that are coming in that may not want to be accommodated in that and kind of field, meaning you have to work 5 days a week. You have to put in your 40 hours. You can't leave the salon if you're in your business, because you got to be here for people. And I'm not saying any of that's wrong. And so for viewers and listeners, don't take this wrong way. But I think that the thing I've seen is that the salons that really make a shift in their mindset and start to accommodate, there's less chance of people just, what the owner would say, they're just going rogue and starting their own business within that. And I think that the biggest thing is evolution. Anytime we have a new business model, what are you doing to evolve your business model to accommodate the people that want to work there? Strictly an observation. This episode is sponsored by the Salon Associate Accelerator from trainersplaybook.com. Are you struggling with the time and cost of associate training? Do you feel like your salon is running you? We'll get your associates on the floor, all with 90% less time from you, so you can get back to building your business. Get them world-class design, finishing, color, and client care skills they'll use every day for the rest of their career, while you focus on realizing your vision. Go to trainersplaybook.com and get the Salon Associate Accelerator. And now, back to the show.
For me, I think your observation is pretty good. I think the shift in consumer behavior and the shift in salon professional behavior, all reflect the current marketplace and the things that have happened, socially, economically, however you want to look at it. And, I don't think that, again, any of it's good or bad. I think it is what it is. You can see how, it's growing on both sides of it. I think if you're committed to the full service model, you can do a great salon and make great money and have a great environment for stylists who want that option, because there are lots of them that want that option. But if you're on the other side of it, and you're independent, you want to have your own schedule, and you're looking to rent a place, it's interesting for me because, these things are always begin unorganized, right? It becomes a solution to a problem that somebody just realized existed, right? To talk about ArtistOnGo, which is, a project I'm involved in now, the beginning of that company was because the founder, Dharmendra Manwani, who's my partner in this, he was the CEO of Jean-Claude Beguine. He had 320, 340 salons worldwide. So he dealt with all the issues of running a commission salon, and he loved the business, and he was committed to the business, and he struggled with, maintaining a really efficient, keeping his chairs booked and making sure that he had an efficient salon. Especially, he opened a great one in New York, and it was Salon of the Year, and the rent in New York is not cheap, and he had a hard time keeping all the chairs full. And he realized, as people started coming to him to ask if they could rent a chair here, rent a chair there, and although he didn't like the idea of it, he realized it could help him pay his rent. And he started to do that. And lo and behold, a light bulb went off and said, look, this is a great opportunity, because this half of the world and all these hairdressers that are speaking to him about wanting to rent or work, their own hours and their own times and choose that, is an opportunity to change the way that all of that happens, which in this industry is usually one by one. So, if a salon owner came to the conclusion that they wanted to rent a chair to help them pay their rent or help increase the revenue of the salon, they had to figure out how to do it all on their own. How do you go about finding the stylist? How do you rent it? What contract do you have? All the answers to the business. And Dharmendra and got together, and we put together with his sister, who's the technical writer, put together a digital platform that does all of that for both sides of the equation. And so we organized very efficiently, very quickly, a platform that can help any salon. It doesn't matter what you consider yourself. Any salon can be, again, full service, can be considered hybrid now, which is full service with rental, or it can be salon suite. It can be any kind of salon that wants to rent chairs to make revenue, to help the salon grow. And the impact that we've seen is that the salons grow. It helps to pay their expenses and/or becomes very profitable for them. And so we set up a platform that makes all of that very easy for both sides. And I can just give you some examples, if you like, on how it works. Because I think for me, it's an amazing idea. So the first secret to this is that the way that we do it, we can fractionalize the inventory. So the inventory management of chairs in a salon for us can be by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month. So we can rent a chair to somebody for 2 hours, 4 hours, the whole day, a month, a week, 3 days, it doesn't matter. We have flexible plans for everybody. So whatever your need is, whatever you need, a number of hours that you need to do your clients in a salon. And so the way that it works is, if you're a salon and you want to rent chairs, if you want to bring renters into your salon or bring stylists into your salon that are not full service commission, you sign up with us. So you come to ArtistOnGo.com and you take a look at it and you register. And the software that we have is amazingly helpful and takes about 2, 3, 4 minutes for you to go through it. And we can help you with our concierge. So we have a concierge service and we can help you sign it up. But literally, if you give us your email and your Instagram or Facebook or whatever, the algorithm we have will put together a web page for you. So we provide every salon that wants to work with us a web page, and on the web page are pictures of the salon. We can then add a virtual tour if they like. All of their pricing level is decided by them. By the way, the salon owner decides that. We recommend it. Their location, the amenities of the salon, the services that they have, the products that they carry. And then we have a set of amenities that we ask them for each of the people who will be working with them, they're renting from them. So we secured the use of the backwash shampoo and conditioner. We secure towels. We get the stylist a storage place within the salon. And so all the amenities, so when you're walking in as somebody who's coming into the salon to work there, or like you work there all the time. So you're not treated like a second-class citizen. The salon chooses all of these things. So the salon owner makes all the decisions around what the amenities are and how they're going to do it. They choose the dress code. All these things are in there. And we provide some insurance to cover any issues. And, once the salon fills out the registration form, which again takes 3-5 minutes, not hard at all, we look at it, we verify everything on it, and they approve everything that's on it ahead of time when they send it to us. And then we publish it. So then they're listed on the ArtistOnGo site. And there's a beautiful page with pictures of their salon again and all the information anybody would need to know. Conversely, on the stylist side, it's the same thing. A stylist would come to us and say, I want to sign up for your platform because I want to use it to find space to work. And so we create a profile for them. They provide us the same information, email, Instagram, whatever they're using. We create a profile for them based on their work and their history, and they load it in. So we check it, then we publish it. So now they're published on the site. So a salon owner now has their salon listed. A stylist is, let's say, in New York City, wants to work in a salon, goes on ArtistOnGo. We have a matching technology, which is really, really nice, which helps us to ensure that we're putting the right stylists in the right salons. And so when they come on, the stylist say, okay, I want a salon in Manhattan. We'll ask them 7, 8, 9 questions. You want a luxury salon, you want a premium salon, what location, where in Manhattan, several other questions, which narrows down and gives us a really good indication of what this person is looking for, what services they want to perform. And then we serve them up, 3, 4, 5 salons in that market that fit that criteria. So we're serving them salons that we know have the amenities that they want, the look that they want, the feel, the vibe, and they know that we know that that's the kind of place that they want to work in. And then the salon owner gets the request, so the stylist would decide how many hours they want to. They can buy a package, a monthly package. They can buy a daily package. It's all there. They can choose all that. ArtistOnGo collects the money and then gives it to the salon owner. So that's the only transaction that happens is this whole thing. So all that ArtistOnGo is doing is facilitating the transaction between the salon and the stylist or the hairdresser. And we don't get involved, nor does the hairdresser get involved with the booking or the billing or anything that the clients do with those stylists. They're on their own. That's, it's 1099. And so they're on their own on that. But the salon gets from us a complete dashboard that makes life so easy for them. It shows them the calendar. It shows them everybody who's coming. All the profiles are there. They can message them through the application. All the rules and everything are there. They have the approval button. So when a new stylist says, yes, I want to come work at the salon, I'm going to buy these hours, the salon owner can say yes or no. They can look at the profile of the stylist and say, I want them there or I don't want them there. And once they do it, if they like the person, they can just put it on automatic. Then that person can go in anytime that they want. But it doesn't take a lot of time for the salon owner. Again, the calendar shows them who's coming, when they're coming, shows all the bookings they have for the month, shows them the money they're making for that month, what they've collected, what is projected for the rest of the month or the next month, following month if they have bookings. Again, everything they need to know. If they need to contact us, they can do it through the app. They can get to the concierge through the app. And then we do programs for them. We have education on the platform for them. And we have, cutting and coloring skills and things like that. And so we have plenty of digital education for them. And also some more things specific, like how to file taxes as an independent stylist, and give them some business coaching on that, some business applications on that side of it. So we have the community aspect to it. So it's a very well-rounded platform. It solves a big problem. It makes, for the salon owner, very simple to get into that business. The funny part is what we've seen is that the stylists come in, the atmosphere in the salon gets more positive and more positive. There's more new people there. There's more people working there. The salon sells more retail because the clients are coming in, and X number of clients that walk in the door are going to buy something. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5, stylists coming into the salon, renting a chair. And from our perspective, that creates a great environment, a great vibe in the salon. And we found, the research that we've done with the stylists that are working with us, that they prefer to be in a salon environment. They want to be in the middle of it, where everybody else is, and where there's people, and where there's community, and the rest of it. And they love those environments to work in. And so, having the opportunity to work in a great salon in any part of the country is a great option for them through our platform. And again, it makes all the management side for the salon owner a 2-minute a day. Open up the app, look who's coming, understand your money. If you need to, there's features galore within it. If somebody's there and they're running late, you can extend the rental, no problem. For stylists, if you don't use up all your hours, we don't take them away from you. We roll them over so they have the opportunity to make sure that they get everything they pay for. Because it's fractional, because we can rent one chair for the entire time the chair is open, it gives us the opportunity to make both the stylist and the salon owner happy financially. They can both make the money they're looking to make, and we can just keep renting that chair until all the hours are gone, then go on to the next chair. So it's a great environment. It works very quickly. It works for both sides. It improves the economics of both sides, so the stylist can make more money, the salon can make money, and it's very easy. And the discussions, we started a discussion with who's better, who's worse, doesn't come into this conversation once it's up and running. The salon owner is happy to have them there, and the full service commission stylists are happy to have them there, and everybody's happy. And we don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want to go rental." If you're committed to commission, you're committed to it, and they like it, and they just enjoy having those other people there, and the people enjoy having that environment. Overall, the platform is super efficient, very easy to use, and it does something very well, which is manages unused chair inventory in salons and finds you great partners who are, again, qualified stylists. They want to be in that kind of environment. We serve that up to them ahead of time. And so there's very few issues between the salons and the stylists. In fact, we've had zero. So it's been a great experiment. We're very well developed in New York and Manhattan, and we're launching nationally now. So we're starting in LA, we're starting in Miami. We're going to go to Dallas and Austin and Chicago and Boston. And so we're beginning to go city by city and working with the people from all parts of the industry to spread the word on it. We work with distributors, we work with manufacturers, we work with educators, we work with influencers, we work with POS systems. So everybody who's involved in the business who has anything to do with it, we've reached out and talked to them, and they love the concept. They see the solution. They see how efficient it is, and they're happy to help us spread the word. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to create an environment that helps the salon owner and the stylists, reach their dreams, get their goals, and it provides a financial opportunity for everybody, and the technology drives it. And we talked about that early on. The change in consumer behavior is driven by technology. And you said to me what I was doing when I left L'Oreal when I retired. I spent most of my time working with companies in the technology sector for the beauty space, trying to help salons, modernize and bring in systems that can help them make more money and run their business better. So I've been dedicated to that. I think for me, it's giving back a bit. And I've always wanted to be in a position where I can help everybody, continue to grow and prosper and do well in their business and reach their dreams and their goals. And this platform, it's kind of the right time and the right place because of the information I shared earlier. I mean, the trend is just continuing to move towards this, and we have a solution for it that's good for everybody.
Yeah, because it's always, any successful place is always finding a problem that's out there and giving people a solution to it, and that's exactly what you're doing here. Yeah,
so we didn't create the problem, we just recognized it.
Yeah.
And, didn't even consider it a problem, we just considered it a fact of the market, and said to ourselves, look, we can really help develop this and, and put strong systems in place that help everybody make this a very easy thing to do and make it profitable for everybody. So that was the whole goal.
Pat, this is another thing that's coming to my brain that we can maybe help people with. That there's the first question I always hear that comes up whenever people are in their own business, whether it's within a commission-based salon, hybrid salon, or whatever. If they have a chair and a place to go, do they still bring in their own product, or is there an inventory system within the salon that they either purchase from, or how does that solve that problem for them?
It's part of the amenities that I mentioned that we negotiate with the salons when they come to work on our platform, to rent on our platform. So what the deal that we have in place, the salon owner allows the stylist to use the shampoo and conditioner at the back bar. So use the styling products that are at the styling station. But honestly, most of them bring their own styling products with them. Remember, I said we asked for a place for storage so they can store their products there. But if they need a product, let's say they're going to do a hair color service and they're going to use Redken hair color and the salon uses Redken hair color, the deal we have with the salon owner is to sell the product to the stylist so that they can use the product in the salon and or allow them to bring in what they want. So this is where, the partnership with distributors, and they can place an order before, have it delivered to the salon waiting for them. So that's always an option. So we just facilitate that process. So it works both ways. They can use the shampoo conditioner at the back bar, and they can bring in their own chemicals or use the chemicals and pay for them from the salon owner that are available, whatever brand they're carrying. So it really depends on what brand the stylist uses and what brand the salon is carrying.
Yeah, and I know that I've seen some hybrid salons that they found that there sometimes where people were leaving to go independent, and sometimes they came back. But the way they solved it was they built their business so that it had two kind of areas. They had suites or booths, and then they had their larger commission area, and they also set it up so it was legal, so that they had a central place that had all the inventory. And if you're an employee, then the employee would go and just say, "Here's the product I need," and that obviously was the same way it always had been. And but the people that were in booth or in suites could go, and it was just almost like you having your own distributorship there. It was there, you bought it, and it went on your tally. They've got receipts for it, and it solved the problem so that they didn't have the problem of saying that you're not, the government coming after you saying you're not really an independent. So I love that you have that on there. Another question is booking. Like anytime that I've seen an independent, I'll give you an example. I was at doing this training a couple of weeks back, and it was a train the trainer program. And I try to keep them really tight on, listen, if you're doing your business, just step out the door, and if you got to take texts or whatever, and just so it's not distracting. And I noticed that while we had an exercise, one girl had her phone by her ear like this, brought out her old-fashioned book, and she was just writing in on Friday, whatever date, and she was at 9 o'clock, and she was writing in a client's name. How do they with ArtistOnGo? I noticed on the site you have a calendar that was listed in there. Tell me a little bit about how does it integrate? Does the salon take the booking? Does the artist take the booking and it transfers in so they know how it is? Tell us how that works.
So, I mentioned it earlier, we don't get involved in any of that. So our platform simply is booking that chair for that stylist,
I see.
that salon. So the stylist themselves is responsible, and you mentioned the legality of it, for booking their clients. And we find there's a lot of different ways to do it. Many of the beauty software companies have an option for that, but Square and some of the other bigger ones that you hear that are out there now also have solutions for independent stylists to use on their phone. And so the booking and collecting of revenue for the stylist is completely up to them. The salon owner doesn't get involved in it. Again, that separation. So yes, it's truly an independent person. They're booking their own clients. The only thing that the salon owner and stylist have with ArtistOnGo is to book that chair for that amount of time, whatever it may be. So we don't get involved in all the rest of that, which is, I think, it's important, again, for separation, and also it makes it very simple for them both to understand what they're doing. And having all the amenities worked out ahead of time really helps us with that.
Yeah, it is awesome, and I love that. So the idea behind this is I love this whole point that somebody can go somewhere, because I keep taking, at the very first time that I heard about this, I kept thinking that it was where if you had an influencer or an artist that was going from city to city and doing shows and was on his own, or a session stylist, they had a place to go. But it's much more than that. They could do it, right? But you also, if it's just, I live in Phoenix and I want to stay working in Phoenix, and I want a place that's either close by or some place that I really want to work at, but I want to be an independent that's working in that salon.
And so that's a biggest piece of the business, is that. I can give you other examples of interesting things that we see, like in Manhattan or in New York. We'll see a stylist who will do about 80% of their business in Manhattan, and then book a day in Bronx, book a day in Queens, book a day in Brooklyn. So do another 20% of the business where their clients are in other boroughs. And so we see a lot of that. But, for the most part, they find a salon that they like a lot, or two salons in their area that they like a lot, and they pretty much focus their business on those places.
Yeah. Well, even, I know I did an interview with Mike Karg, and he's based out of Switzerland, but he also books in Manhattan. I think he has another couple places, whether it's down in Florida, wherever, that he goes to. So when he comes in to do shows, he literally goes from one place to the next. and he might do a few more days, and he'll do it in Manhattan. Then he'll go to another city if he's got somewhere nearby, so he can still be making extra money while he's doing his shows, etc.
There's all kinds of applications for the technology. I mean, we have people come to us looking to book entire salon to do a trend or to do a training, and so we can book an entire salon for a day or 2 days for them, and then they can go in and do what they need to do, whether it's filming or cutting or teaching. So we have all kinds of different requests. It's interesting that the platform's extremely flexible and it works for all the applications. Again, it's the most efficient process to manage excess chair inventory in a salon environment. Again, doesn't matter what salon, full service, hybrid, salon, suite, doesn't matter. And again, the key to it is it's fractionalized, so it makes it easy for everybody. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, first of all, I just want to say congratulations on this. I think this sounds like a really great deal, and what it's making me think of other people that I know. Like I have some really dear couple that I know out of the New York area, and they just went and built a hybrid place. They had, I can't remember whether it's on the side or in their basement or wherever they put it, but simply because that they saw the evolution of independent and they didn't want to lose that market share, so they could add. They actually added on so that they could have their commission. But then this is like a perfect hit for them because they don't have to go out and find people. And the other thing that I was thinking was there still is this rationale, this business rationale, and I'm going to use the word hearken because I just want to try to fit that in. This harkens back to just foundational commission-based salon. I've got a chair. I'm open for 10 hours a day. What am I doing to make sure that chair is creating revenue? So if I've got somebody is there from 9 to 12 in the morning, and then I've got somebody there in the afternoon, it's making money. But if somebody's not using it, then that's lost revenue for me as the owner. So whether that comes from the commission that I get or the rent that I get from the chair, it just makes perfect business sense that you're actually creating dollars based on renting out the stuff that's not being used.
And Chris, that's the way we look at it. You have an asset that is underdeveloped because you're not using it all the time, and we help you develop it and use it to its full extent. And again, it's not a negative or a positive to any of the models. It's a fact of life today. And, we spoke about the trends of what's happening at the workforce level. And, it's not just in hairdressing, it's in everything. Nobody wants to go to an office anymore. You can see what's happening in that world. And so kind of the hairdressers are a little bit ahead of the curve on it. But I think now it's, completely acceptable. And I believe that, what we've seen, the reaction that we've seen when, somebody comes to the conclusion that you just came to that, oh, I should rent that chair and make money from it. It doesn't interfere. It improves the salon environment, improves the retail sales. It gives a better vibe, and they're busier. There's more people coming, and so it's a better solution for them for that way to do it. And again, they don't have to figure out how to do it on their own. We have it all done for them. It's very simple.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, listen, so I just got to say this, saying this to the people, whether that are listening out there right now watching, is that if you're a stylist or a salon and you want to get involved with Artist on the Go, just check the show notes that are going to happen for this link, and there'll be a link that it can send it to you, and you can get more information on that and go. And I just want to do one other thing just before we go for that is also you've been involved with Tippy, and I want to encourage people just to go to meet Tippy, MEET, and then Tippy, TIPPY.com, and it just helps people with their tipping services. And you said that they actually get more, their tips are actually greater once they're on this than they do them just by the consumer to the stylist, correct?
It is. It's a much more efficient system, and it works for everyone. Again, it's one of those great uses of existing technology that people are used to. I mean, now that process is everywhere you go. They turn the iPad around and said, "What do you want to tip?" So exactly. I'm glad we were the first to do that in the salon business years ago, and it's been quite successful. And it is that's a great system. Also, I mentioned that it was my intention when I retired to try to help salons find these types of technologies to make their life easier and to give them a better shot at making a lot of money and running their business efficiently. So that's another example of a great technology that does that. And it's just a matter of adopting it, getting used to it, and using it. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Pat, this has been absolutely amazing to have you on, number one. Number two, just to help the people grow in our industry. That's always been both of our things. I'm at the stage of my life too that about giving back. And but I first of all just want to thank you for your mentorship, for your guidance, and for the help that you do and everything that you do in the industry.
It was my pleasure. It was great working with you over the years, and what I've learned from the creative half of the business will serve me well until I die. And I've enjoyed it so much, and I just found it to be a very welcoming place, and the people that were in it were a lot of fun to hang around with. So I appreciate that. I appreciate working with you. I thank you for this opportunity to talk to you on your podcast. It sounds great. It looks great. And it's so great to see you again. And you keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
That's awesome. And listen, for those people watching and listening, if you want to make sure whatever platform you're on, if you want to leave us a rating on there, leave some comments in. And also, if you leave us, we want to have more great people on. Either A, just make a suggestion to us, or number two is just leave us a good rating just so we can get this message out to more people. So in the meantime, Pat, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for all of the people that have been watching and listening Headcases. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Chris. Have a great day.
You too. Headcases is produced by Cut Action Media with Marjorie Phillips doing the planning parts, Lee Baran on the video bits, and Adrian Taverner mixing the audio jazz.